Today we're going to be exploring different beverages that we can offer preschoolers, as well as taking a closer look at their sugar content and reviewing recommended portion sizes. So let's get started. Some common beverages that we offer children, such as juice and milk, can play an important role towards contributing to their daily food group recommendations for preschoolers. So we can take a closer look at the different food groups. I have a chart here, and this gives a nice little outline of the different food groups and the recommended portions for each group. And I'm just going to highlight the fruits and dairy section here since we're talking about beverages, and popular beverages are fruit juices and milk. So starting out with fruit, the recommendation is 1 to 1.5 cups. So keep in mind that a half cup serving of juice is equivalent to a half cup of fruit. So we want to be mindful of how much fruit and fruit juice we're offering, and typically the recommendation is not to exceed 4 to 6 ounces per day for your preschooler. And then looking at milk, we definitely recommend choosing a low-fat or fat-free milk, and also trying to limit the amount of chocolate milk that a preschooler has. That's certainly a great dessert or treat option that you can provide once in a while, but 1 cup of chocolate milk can easily offer 28 grams of sugar, and 1 cup of regular milk is about 11 grams of sugar. So it is definitely higher in sugar than a regular milk, so that's why we want to limit the amount of chocolate milk that we may be offering. As I discussed earlier with the fruits group in terms of equivalencies, it's pretty similar for the dairy group as well. So when you're looking at a half cup serving of milk, that's going to equal a half cup of dairy. And the recommendation for preschoolers is about 2 to 2.5 cups for the entire day. So keeping that in mind, you want to think about how much milk you're offering them and how that plays into the other dairy foods that you may be offering, such as cheese and yogurt. So I'd like to do a quick little activity, just taking a closer look at the sugar content of different types of beverages. So I brought 3 different beverages. I have a soda, a orange juice, and a fruit punch. So if you want to take a couple seconds to kind of number on your paper which one you think has the most and the least, and you can just number it 1, 2, and 3 and write down your answers. Now we're going to take a closer look at the sugar content of these beverages. So one great place to look is the nutrient facts label. And we'll start off with our soda here. So if you take a closer look, you'll see that there's 41 grams, and that's per 12-ounce serving. So you can see here that this is a pretty large bottle. It contains more than 12 ounces. And underneath here, you'll see that there's actually 3 servings, 3 12-ounce servings per this bottle. So you want to be mindful of that anytime you're reading a nutrient facts label, that it may not be the complete contents of the bottle, as this one shows 3 servings. So 41 grams is pretty high for a beverage, but most sodas do contain a lot of sugar in them, which is why we typically don't recommend offering them as a beverage. So then we'll take a look at our orange juice, and we'll swivel this around. So this one has 42 grams of sugar, and this one is representing the entire contents of the bottle. So if you want an equivalent of the sugar content per 12-ounce serving, that would be 33 grams. So it is less than the soda, but it's still pretty high. So sometimes people are surprised about how much sugar are in juices, but they are natural sugars, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay to drink as much juice as we want. We still need to be mindful of how much sugar we're getting from our natural or from our juices. And the last one is the fruit punch. So This one has 47 grams, and this is also per the contents of the bottle, and this is a 16-ounce bottle. So if you want the equivalent for a 12-ounce, then that is about 35 grams, so it's a little bit higher than the juice here, but still less than the soda. So one other thing I want to point out is that even though this is nicely decorated with fruits and it has fruit on there, you need to look at the actual percent content of real juice. So this says here that it contains 10% of juice in the actual beverage. So we typically recommend offering 100% real juice because that's going to have more of the nutrients in it than a juice flavored beverage. So that's something to also keep a lookout for. So if we were to rearrange this, it would be the soda's the highest, then the fruit punch, and then our orange juice. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about portion sizes for beverages. Due to the various sizes of drinking cups available at the store for children, it can be a little bit misleading in terms of what an appropriate portion size is when you're serving a beverage. To try to simplify it, I have a little model here. So this contains about 4 ounces of fluid, or half a cup. Now, if I were to fill it up all the way, it would be able to contain about 8 ounces of fluid, which is the full cup. So that kind of gives a little bit perspective of what that looks like. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics does recommend for young children that they drink no more than 4 to 6 ounces of 100% fruit juice per day, as I discussed a little bit earlier. Now, if your child is already accustomed to having more than 4 to 6 ounces of juice per day, let's say that they're getting 3 8-ounce servings of juice per day, one recommendation that we have is to try to water down the juice and slowly taper down each week to try to get them more accustomed to the flavor and the taste of it, because it will significantly change the sweetness factor of the juice, and that's something that you may not be able to hide from them. They do enjoy the sweetness from it. So like I said, if let's say for an example, you are providing 8 ounces of juice typically for a meal. So you can start off by filling up your glass with maybe 6 ounces of juice, 2 ounces of water, and see how they tolerate that. And every child is going to be different, but it's something that you certainly have to be patient with and taper down each week. That way we can be mindful of how much juice that we're offering so that we can decrease the amount of sugar that they're getting from the juice. So now that we finished reviewing different beverages and their sugar content as well as appropriate portion sizes, we can go over some tips to follow throughout the day. It's best to offer juice and milk during meal times. This can provide more structure for when they're having beverages that may be a little bit sweeter for your preschoolers. This may make it easier to control how much sugar that they're getting from their beverages if you're limiting it only to meal times. And the best beverage to offer in between meals is water. One other great alternative instead of providing juice for your preschoolers is making a smoothie. Smoothies provide fiber from fruits and is definitely a great alternative that you can mix in different flavors for your preschooler to enjoy. Thank you all for joining me today and learning more about beverages for preschoolers. If you would like more resources, visit www.choosemyplate.gov, and for more recipes, visit www.superhealthykids.com. Thank you.